Hello, and welcome to another ohmTown Daily, Season 2, Episode 343 for December 9th, 2023. Tonight we're going to be discussing tiny VR goggles for lab mice, a bunch of news about Gemini, Grok, and other AI. Pre-Viking discovery changes history, another article about CosMc, but from another perspective. A retro tiny home on wheels, new trains and tracks, but I wonder if taxpayers are going to pay for it. Another article about AI and humanity. Battle Angel 2 gets an update. Technology in the Unhoused. And something about Steve and the Picket fence. That and maybe more here on ohmTown Daily. See you on the other side of this. Hello again, I am Mayor Watt, that is ohmTown.com. The artificial intelligence is on break. The tiny VR goggles for lab mice article is the one that's up next. So let's just scroll right on into it. The article's over in the mobile channel. Scientists created tiny VR goggles for lab mice with adorable results, according to the article. It's a Gizmodo article. Let me throw this into the chat. Plop that in there for you. And it says, at last, researchers say they found a way for lab mice to easily use virtual reality goggles. The unusual setup does have practical applications, since it should make it easier for scientists to study how mice respond to things commonly encountered in the wild, like predatory birds. I don't know if the situational awareness will be the same, but okay. Let's go over to Gizmodo. Ed Cara is the author. Deck statement for this article says, with new goggles, researchers should be able to design better experiments to learn how the animals perceive the world. This has to be, so it's an illustration of the immersive, but the IMRSIV VR setup with an overhead threat projected onto the top of the field of view. So I guess I'm really not sure what it is. It's a weird render. Sending mice into virtual reality isn't a new concept. Ideally, VR allows scientists to simulate naturalistic environments for mice under more controlled conditions, but even the most advanced systems today are clunky. Mice will be placed onto a treadmill while they're surrounded by computers or projection screens, for instance, but these screens can't cover the whole lab, and it typically takes some time for mice to even focus on the VR environment. So apparently, researchers at Northwestern University say they have now designed a VR structure that should be more lifelike for lab mice, aptly called immersive. The setup works much like the Oculus Rift, it's just a tiny Rift, and other VR goggles, though the rodents aren't actually wearing mouse-sized lenses. Instead, the goggles are attached to the base of the system, and the mice are placed close enough to them that they cover their entire field of vision. The mice can also run in place thanks to a treadmill. It's interesting. So go and check this out. This article is over at Gizmodo. I don't know if they have any links off of this other than that one right there. So the paper was published in Neuron, but the link goes to cell.com/Neuron. So go and check that out for me, and come on back. I'll probably take a look at this as well. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Okay, I'm not even going to do a transition today. I'm going to go on to the next article. The next article is over in the mobile channel. Google's Gemini, Grok goes premium, and more of the top AI news of the week. It's over at Gizmodo as well. Let me jump right on over there. Lucas Ropek puts the article together. The deck statement says, Google launched a ChatGPT competitor, but does it live up to the hype? Everything that I've seen about this so far is a lot of stuff was time. The video was edited from end to end, so I don't trust any of this until I see unadulterated video, speed, reliability, actual functionality. It was weird that people were hyping this up as if it was real time and just fantastical, and it may be, right? Image detection, though, has been around for a long time, but they gave it the implication, people inferred from the video that it was real time. I clicked the link to the next slide, and then Elon Musk's anti-woke AI is here, according to this. Elon Musk's snarky anti-woke chatbot Grok started rolling out to X Premium Plus users, except that I read today that there's a complaint that it is coming back with a liberal tilt to it, apparently. And frankly, my anecdotal observation is that society seeks being liberal because it's not as controlled and oppressive and repressive. So, hate to break it to you, go look at population centers. Unless they've been meticulously groomed for centuries, they are all liberal. But I'll probably get into this as we go into 2024. I'll end up talking about this a little bit more, what my research is showing in the current era. So we'll see. Anyway, so X users who paid $16 a month or $22 via the app for a blue check mark started receiving the added features of getting roasted by xAI's premier generative AI chatbot. So Grok is going premium. And the next slide is talking about Apple doing something with AI, and they titled this section a little too late, right? With too little too late is what they say. Apple scurries onto the AI stage with too little too late. And that's what everybody said about every device that Apple has ever come out with. You know, it's not enough. It's it's just not enough usually. And nobody's gonna blah blah blah, and then, you know, eat my dust is basically what Apple says time and time again, because it's not that they do it first, it's that they do it right. And we'll see. I mean, some of the stuff is just outlandish, and when I was really young and Apple was around, everything was priced too high, and now we're getting back into that 70s era of economics in the United States. So I'm still watching interest rates and stuff. I haven't looked at them lately. I really should look at what the interest rate is for mortgages. I'm sure that it's up above 8 still. So, but I'm not going to go through all of these slides. They have a list. And so I won't go slide by slide through these. Let's see. They talk about Gemini again here in this, in number 4 of the slides. But I had already mentioned that the presentation of it doing visual detection of what changes and what might be seen. It wasn't real time, so I don't trust anything about it. Then it says secret behind AI drive-thrus. It's humans doing the work. Well, humans may be doing the cooking, but order taking and order processing aren't necessarily done by humans. Then it says here, first test of Meta's AI image generator was a hilarious flop. I haven't seen that article yet, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Unless more money than anybody else has been thrown at it, and it's received just a ton of subject matter experts specific to image generation, then it's just not going to meet what several other generative AIs are already producing. They're trying to play catch up. Copilot is I'm gonna let it crash. It can stay off my system. I don't want it on any of my systems. This had better be so hardcore opt out or opt in, I should say, that I shouldn't get a notice saying that this shit's running on my system. I'm not interested in AI running automatically on my system. And it says here that Sam Altman may have found a loophole to cash in at OpenAI. Yeah, and I think it's dissolving the not-for-profit. It's gained all of the benefit that it can possibly gain, and it's got enough traction on the for-profit side that it could probably capitalize off of it, and it can pivot out of being a not-for-profit. I honestly don't know how it could have the capped profit side parallel to the not-for-profit side, but I don't know. I guess you throw enough money at something and have enough pull, you can pretty much do anything, it seems. Okay, I'm gonna. Oh, I hit the I hit the transition button, and I shouldn't have. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna go on to the next article. It's over in ohmTown Daily. Archaeologists exciting pre-Viking discovery rewrites history. Researchers have investigated a large burial mound in Norway measuring around 200 feet across that contains an ancient ship. Dun dun dun. I don't know. It says Viking bracelet made 1,000 years ago, found in farmer's field. This doesn't have anything to do with the damn article other than it has to do with Vikings. Anyway, Aristos Georgiou over at Newsweek.com put this article together. This summer, a team of researchers investigated the so-called Herlogshaugen, I guess. I'm sure it's pronounced a different way. Burial mound located in the municipality of Lake Trondelag County on the coast of central Norway, with the aim of dating it and confirming whether or not a ship was hidden inside. Come on, you don't have to date it, for crying out loud. To the joy of the archaeologists, surveys revealed large rivets in the mound, confirming that it was indeed the site of a ship burial. Now, recent dating efforts have indicated that the mound was constructed around AD 700 prior to the Viking Age, sparking further excitement among the researchers, according to Norwegian University of Science and Technology. Depending on how it is buried inside the mound, it actually might remain intact. But if there was a lot of humidity, if the soil was moist and had the wrong type of ecosystem, then everything is just decomposed, and as they scrape away the dirt to get to where the wood might be, it'll just be darker colored soil, or different colored soil and slightly different density. So I don't know if they're taking it apart or not, but it says the Viking Age was a period spanning from the late 8th century AD to the mid 11th century AD, when the Vikings, the Scandinavian seafaring people, raided, colonized, and traded widely across areas of Europe. The burial mound seems to be a date preceding the era, known as the Merovingian period. This indicates that the custom of burying people in large ships started much earlier than previously thought, so 550 AD to 800 AD. An archaeologist at the NTNU University Museum, who was a project manager for the dig, told Newsweek. Pretty neat. Yeah. We keep learning a little bit more and pushing back the history. So one of these days we'll get a time machine going. Let's go on to the next article. This article is involving CosMc again. Curious customers flock to McDonald's new retro drinks brand. CosMc, named after an obscure company mascot, is a bid for the specialty drinks market. It's pretty much confirmed that this is going after the Starbucks market, but at the same time, it has kind of knock-on products from the regular McDonald's. So I think there's going to be some cannibalizing as people seek a higher-end drink. And maybe something tertiary. They're also going to be ordering whatever they would normally get from a McDonald's. Maybe this will amp up the the purchases of those specialty drinks, which are pretty high margin. The article's over at bbc.com. That's the perspective that I wanted to give, because yesterday's was political based. The one before it was speculative because it hadn't actually launched anything yet. It was a couple of days out, or almost a week out. So this article over at bbc.com by Natalie Sherman and Mike Wendling could be a slightly different perspective, you know. Fast food companies are dreaming of more customers like 21-year-old Corin McKenna. Quote, "I'm here because of the intrigue, and I think that McDonald's empire is something that's pretty impressive," she said. "I first heard about this launch on TikTok." So apparently this is CosMc, which basically is a sphere with the top and bottom cut off and a pair of legs glued to the bottom, a bunch of hands attached, arms and hands attached to little portals around the midriff, and then like a starfish head on top. I don't know how to put it other than kind of like a D4 sitting on top of yeah, it's weird. So this is CosMc, which in my entire life, if I've ever seen CosMc, I forgot about CosMc. I have no idea. So the real focus, it says, however, is a long list of drinks that involve various permutations of caffeine, sugar, and colors designed to pop on Instagram. They have names like Churro Frappe, S'mores Cold Brew, Turmeric Spiced Latte, and Tropical Spice Aid, a sweet lemonade with a slight kick, and red fruits bobbing along the top. And then they can be customized. So apparently this is more on the drink side. And that's kind of why people were saying that it's heading down the Starbucks route. Starbucks moved more into some like a quick food fare as well, but mostly drinks. They say here, another quote is, "I'm a fan of McDonald's and the whole retro space theme is cool." Ms. Rodriguez said, "I like the 1980s too." And there's a lot more in this article, so I'm just going to kick that on over to you. In fact, I'm an article behind in the VOD, so let me throw that into the VOD and throw the CosMc's article into the VOD. And they say the whole retro or space thing, but I just don't get a space vibe from this thing other than the name CosMc's. It just doesn't, I mean, the outside doesn't really compel me to think retro space vibe. Not at all. Not one little bit. I don't know. Maybe if one gets close to ohmTown, I'll take a look. I'm not holding my breath, though. I think it's going to flash out. It might through will alone, because it has money to survive the growth and distribution costs associated with essentially spinning up in facilities that are going to cannibalize your other facilities. If McDonald's can weather it, then maybe it will be sustained long enough that people will just start going to them instead of Starbucks. But hell, I'd rather y'all go to a mom and pop coffee shop. The diversity of this is just kind of kitschy, you know. So let's go on to the next article. This next article is a retired artist spent $70,000 resurrecting the holy grail of vintage trailers and turning it into a retro tiny home on wheels. I haven't read this snippet or anything about this, but when I hear holy grail of vintage trailers, I think it's the Airstream. So a retired artist bought and restored what he dubs the holy grail of mobile homes. Dan Reiser spent roughly $70,000 to bring the 1960 Spartan carousel back to life. It's been restored with mid-century modern aesthetic and is on sale for $210,000. So a vintage trailer tiny home flipper looking to recover 3 times their investment. But I don't know. 78-year-old guy doing this? Wow, that's some mad motivation there. Maria Noyen is the author over at businessinsider.com. So the before looks like it's basically a trailer home that's been gutted. You know, has the metal sides, has an opening for what looks like a screen door would be there. But there's nothing in it. And then the new look is retro. It looks like it's pulled straight out of the 60s. This could be a time machine in and of itself. This cannot be the same thing. It has like a full arching countertop and what looks like full-size ovens. For crying out loud, this thing looks huge. Huh. So Dan Reiser spent nearly $70,000 bringing the 1960 Spartan carousel back to life. Damn near restoring it to the old school 1960s aesthetic. In fact, Reiser, 78, told Business Insider that he's been fixing up dilapidated mobile homes since he retired from sculpting and making music 15 years ago. So they've been doing this for a while now. They're down in North Carolina and in Asheville. So if you're in the area, I don't know, maybe you can go and check it out. It's for sale. For over a decade, he scoured websites like Craigslist and eBay looking for vintage trailers that he can work his magic on. And as soon as they found one, if they really like it, they jump on it right away, is what he says. There was one condition: the trailers must be vintage Spartans. So it's 500 square feet. Yeah, more mobile home than anything. It looks like a mobile home. So you're going to have to tow it somewhere and drop it. But it has that 1960s aesthetic. Oh my gosh. But it also doesn't look like it could withstand a good breeze, you know? Yeah, I don't know. So there's always more over at these articles, folks. Nicknamed the carousel for the retro circular kitchen. There you go. The one-bedroom trailer has a whopping 10 by 50 feet, Reiser said. Comes with a cozy living room and a funky tiled bathroom with a pink tub. Well, I'm out. I'm a member of DAPS, Divers Against Pink Stuff. The bathroom has a pink tub and the kitchen has a unique circular counter. Those are the two things that were drawn out in the article. Look at that. I don't know. I dig the counter. I dig the kitchen. Not so much the bathroom. Reiser did not provide the specific price that he paid for the carousel, but he said that he usually pays between $35,000 and $50,000 for a trailer and spends an additional $70,000 fixing it up. He's asking for $210,000, which is 3 times that fixing up cost. Interesting. So he said it was in bad condition. I agree. It looks like it was gutted. So good on him. Keep him busy. I don't think that I'd be doing this at age 78. All right, let's keep on going though. I'm not going to slow down. If you show up in chat, welcome to the show. Go and check out ohmTown.com. Download the podcast, go and watch the video, like and subscribe on both of those, and follow us here on twitch.tv. So this next article is over in Technology Today. New trains, new tracks, U.S. rail to get much needed facelift. Old-fashioned, slow, infrequent, and often non-existent trains have long been the poor relation of cars and planes in the United States. Well, they've basically been driven out of existence and only used for utilitarian purposes, and then retrofitted back into areas where there's large populations, and they're usually not, really the high volume, high speed trains. And based on what we've been talking about for the last 2 years, there's something like 2,000 train related incidents, like derailments, in a year. It's something has to change. But here it is. President Joe Biden's administration is hoping to change that as it unveils major rail investments on Friday, including the United States' first high-speed train, between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, which it aims to complete by 2028. So it's going to be public money and private profit, and we as citizens aren't going to sit there and get any benefit from it. Yeah, we're going to get benefit as in we're going to pay double the price because the margins will be pretty big at that point because subsidies going into the project. So if I'm wrong, then fine. But you don't have a president hyping up major rail investments without it basically just being taxpayer dollars, and yet taxpayers are still going to have to pay a large sum to ride on these damn trains. And it's because there is an investor motive that doesn't go away once compensation for the investment plus some juice has been fulfilled. They're going to keep on charging. And not just to cover the cost. There's going to be a profit motive. It always has to have a profit motive in the United States. It can't just be done. I'm surprised that all of the, national parks haven't been privatized and everybody has to pay more now because there's a board and investors. That doesn't exist right now. I'm just saying, I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. So the aim of the additional financing is to usher in a new era of passenger rail. Laura Mason, Amtrak's executive vice president in charge of the renovation work, told AFP. I don't know. Why don't you lower the amount of margin that you're giving to private investors? Again, maybe I'm wrong. I haven't looked at Amtrak and other train systems. If they're not acting as a private agency or a private corporation and profiting, I'm not talking about salaries going out. It should be a not-for-profit. Mass transit should be a not-for-profit. It should cover all of its costs, retain some for any concerns that might happen, but there shouldn't be a whole shit ton of investors out there that are making gobs of money. And what I read earlier today is ridiculous. All this money was pumped into the system because of the pandemic. People are sitting there going inflation, yet companies are the reason why inflation is through the freaking roof, and only certain companies are making massive profits. In the first quarter was $6 billion. In the next quarter, it was 110 or something like that billion dollars. Why? It's because corporations are gathering up all of the profits, raising their prices, and then pocketing it so that they can buy back stock, consolidate control of the company, privatize it entirely, and you end up with a shithole like the website formerly known as Twitter. Steered like an out of control train into narcissism and sociopathy. The train played a crucial role in expansion across the western United States in the 19th century, but today's network is skeletal, Jim Matthews, the head of the U.S. Rail Passengers Association, told AFP. As a result, and that's what I said earlier, it's all been consolidated into only a few hosts, not given one iota of thought about, go ahead, privatize it. Consolidate it. And then don't give a shit about the tracks until they derail, and then say, the water's fine. Go drink the water. Yeah, so this article is pretty interesting, that it's basically saying what we've been saying for the last 2 years. Despite the challenges, the current context is a favorable one for train travel, Mason said. We're seeing a real change coming out of the pandemic in how people want to move, she said, adding the passenger numbers were growing. Yeah, well, the only thing that's really growing is the desire for people to have a better work-life balance. And so working from home really should be it. I shouldn't have to get on a train to go to work. Not when the same desk is sitting at home and I can do the same type of work. I'm not talking about stuff where your hands have to be in a very specific place at a machine, you know, anyway, all of this is dumb. Okay, let's go on to the next article. Before I do that, let me throw this into the chat. I think I missed this one. Oh no, that's the last one that I just did. And then this one is the tracks. There you go. So the next article is over in Technology Today. AI and You. Altman says humanity needs to solve for AI safety. EU agrees on historic AI law. It's a CNET article. I didn't follow it yet, but it says getting up to speed on the rapidly evolving world of AI with their roundup of the week's development. Now, I don't actually go to this. I don't go to this article to round up what I know about AI. I end up basically getting it in piecemeal. But Connie Guglielmo puts together this article that allows you to kind of get all of it at once. If it's just, it might be a little bit curtailed, not as expansive as others. But they say here, it's been a minute since OpenAI CEO Sam Altman was ousted, returned 5 days later, and then reset the governing board of the maker of ChatGPT. Now there's some verbiage coming out saying that he was psychologically harassing or something like that, which, come on, man. Over 750 people within the organization said that they were going to go somewhere else because Sam Altman wasn't there. You would think that maybe there's more people where this guy's being abusive psychologically. If he was, I hope that there is a lot of data to support it and not just somebody's claim. It would be so bad to try and harm this guy's reputation again. So it says there are lots of insider looks and timelines and analysis pieces about the saga and about the men who have starring roles in the future of AI, including Altman, Bill Gates, and CEO Satya Nadella. That dude, etc. Anyway, but the simple recap of this is power, ego, money pitted against concerns and ethics. OpenAI has a valuation of more than $85 billion. It's basically hit its cap, so it has to dissolve that capped for-profit entity. It can't get out of that. I don't even know how it was allowed to form alongside the assets of a private, not a private, but a not-for-profit organization. A not-for-profit was developing the product that the for-profit was charging for. So I don't understand why they're not assumed to be one and the same. It's like my engine isn't part of my car, but it's the engine that gets me there because it's turning the shaft that's, turning the wheels. I just don't get it. But there's a lot more over at this article. But can everything be fixed later on? Altman, who's 38, told Noah it isn't exactly possible to make generative AI completely safe. Quote, we say airplanes are safe, but airplanes still do crash very infrequently, or like amazingly infrequently to me. That's Altman saying this. We can say that drugs are safe, but the FDA will still certify a drug that can cause some people to die sometimes. And so safety is like society deciding something is acceptably safe, except that in all of these cases, we're putting our lives in the into the path of whatever it is has been certified as safe. We don't get into a plane and go, hey, there's a chance that it's going to crash. We don't knowingly sit there and say that, maybe subconsciously, maybe when somebody pries it out of us. But we trust that the engineering has proven it to be safe. When planes first came out, there's no way in hell that I'd be flying. I'm not going to beta test a parachute. Somebody did, but I'm not the person that's going to bounce. So no, AI is a computer program that should freaking stay a computer program. It shouldn't be in charge of determining the outcome of me flying safely or a drug that I take being safe. Not directly. Like, it can do the analysis, but there should be a human being that verifies it. You know, all of it should be verified by a human being, by more than just a computer. We shouldn't be sitting there going, well, the computer's right. That's why I don't trust anything generated by any AI. It's all bullshit. It's hallucination brought out because there's a large language model that's basically a bunch of regurgitated data. So they say, as for his nightmare scenario, Altman said the risk-reward trade-offs mean humanity will just have to figure it out. Yeah, it's 6:29. The no shit news just hit us. And then the EU agrees on historic AI legislation, an executive order that aims to put guardrails around the development and use of AI. Yeah, well, while the EU is doing it, all of the countries that aren't part of the EU are just blowing past these guardrails, and they're going to be creating something way beyond what is under the EU eyes. And now there's an AI alliance working on AI's risk-reward conundrum. The AI Alliance, a collaboration involving more than 50 companies, universities, research groups, science agencies, and AI leaders to ensure that, quote, open innovation of AI benefits everyone and that it is built responsibly. Well, that isn't going to happen. Not everybody is going to have access to it. Not everybody's going to benefit from it. It's just not how it works. The ultra rich are going to get access to a version of this that nobody else has. And the people that are in the technology divide are going to just be handed something that some billionaire or some politician is going to say, oh, that's good enough. Some corporation, that's good enough. Just like high-speed internet. Now, 10 megabits is fine. You don't need more because it's a series of tubes and our profit margins will be lower if we open it up too much. Yet there's competitors that have fiber and 2 gig symmetric internet for the same price as Comcast, providing the same shit level. Google steps up AI arms race with Gemini. Kind of. I already talked about this. Until I see unadulterated video, no modifications, real time, in situ, and not edited, compressed, blah, blah, blah marketing, I don't trust the damn thing that comes out of this. Yeah, I'm actually kind of, I'm being pretty cynical today. So, I'm hoping that this next article turns out to be good news, because I love the world building from Alita Battle Angel, the original. They kind of teased what the prehistory of the Battle Angel was all about, and I want to know more. But number 2, I don't think is going to be, a prequel kind of a thing. It's just going to be the next step. But Alita Battle Angel 2 gets a surprisingly optimistic update from original star, with the creative team behind the original movie confirming talks are still ongoing. Jeff Fahey has an optimistic update for Alita Battle Angel 2. Fahey starred in the 2019 adaptation of the manga of the same name as McTeague, a hunter warrior who appeared in a single scene in which he aids Rosa Diaz's eponymous heroine against the criminal cyborg Gruishka. Though the movie was only seen as a modest box office and critical success, director Robert Rodriguez and co-writer producer James Cameron have remained devoted to making a sequel happen, with fans of the movie similarly campaigning for a follow-up. I would love to see more. There wasn't enough Battle Angel Alita for me. I wanted to see more. I found the original, like, the world building was just spectacular. It was kind of like Half-Life Alyx to me, the dystopian kind of location and this superior class sitting on high. I mean, it's just an amazing world. But I've never watched the manga or read the manga, looked at the manga. I know nothing about Battle Angel beyond the movie. But it teased me into being really interested in the show actually coming to version 2 of it, or episode 2 of it. Grant Hermans over at Screen Rant put the article together. The deck statement says exclusive. Jeff Fahey offers an optimistic update on Alita Battle Angel 2, teasing an upcoming reunion with director Robert Rodriguez. So yeah, there's more over here at this article. So I'm gonna just drop this link into chat, and you can go and check it out here. There you go. We have one more article after this, but let me see if there's something else in this article. During the recent interview with Screen Rant for the action thriller Do Justice, Fahey asked his thoughts on the potential Alita Battle Angel 2. The actor confirmed his interest to return for the sci-fi sequel, teasing he's even set to reunite with Rodriguez for an unnamed upcoming project in summer 2024. So that'll be interesting. The only thing that people would ever, like, they just couldn't stop talking about Alita's eyes being huge. And then you find out just what she is. And one of the neatest effects was this kind of ceramic composite body, the limbs. It was amazing, you know. It looked like a porcelain figurine, right? It looked very graceful and almost regal. So it was pretty cool design. Let's see. I don't know if there's more to this. Wow, Alita Battle Angel was released in 2019? It doesn't feel like that. It feels like it was a long time ago. That's not as long as I thought it was ago. Wow. Interesting. $170 million budget. Yikes. That had to all be computers. Okay. We got 2 more articles. Sorry, I thought I had only one more. The next article is over in the Technology Today channel. Technology built the cashless society. Advances are helping the unhoused, so they're not left behind. This has been a problem. I've actually ended up talking with people about that, about this outside of ohmTown. John Littlejohn, I guess is their name, or Little John. I don't know. Hold on. Let me go over to the article itself. Ashraf Khalil over at techexplore.com put the article together. So yeah, it's John Littlejohn remembers the days when lots of people had a couple of dollars to spare to buy a copy of Street Sense, the local paper that covers issues related to the homeless and employs unhoused individuals as its vendors. Today, he's finding fewer people walking around with spare change. Even well-meaning individuals who want to help are likely to pat their pockets and apologize. Yeah, been there. Because, like, I don't carry cash. I don't see a need to carry cash for my day-to-day existence. So unless somebody can figure out a way to zero the friction for me to, and there's very little. Sorry, I'm tightening the armrest on my chair here. The problem is that, you know, while I think of it like Back to the Future, you know, thumb $30 to fix the clock tower, and you just put your finger on the sensor and it takes whatever amount you agreed to out of your account. You know, if you can make it that frictionless and then convert it into cash, fine, you know, I'll donate. It's not a big deal. The trouble comes when it has to be cash, because cash there is no tracking of me handing somebody $5 or $10 or whatever. But there's an electronic paper trail, and all of this accounting and friction in between me giving it and somebody in need getting it, short of just me handing it to the person directly, it becomes a thing, you know. Every intermediary between me and the solution wants a piece of the action. And we've gotten rid of paper, but I'm not going to carry cash around. I can always get my zero. If I get robbed, my zeros and ones can be returned. You know, I fill out a police report and I get my money back. But cash, if it's stolen, it's gone. Poof. It's not like the bank's going to go, oh, you had X amount taken? Sure. So one of the larger shifts in Western society over the past 2 decades has been the decline of cash transaction. Actual physical media, buddy. All physical media is going away. It's becoming digital. You don't own anything anymore. It's a license to partake in it. And if they decide to change your partaking, they can either refund it, the money, and it's gone, like they did with 1984. In the dead of night, they deleted it off of Kindle devices because somebody didn't have the proper license. Hey, nothing dystopian about that. Or they'll just delete it and then nobody knows, and until you go looking for it, it's gone. You know, the Kindle. And you can't sell a DVD or anything, music or book or anything when it's in digital form. We lost first sale doctrine. So there is no physical media. It's not just the decline of cash transactions. It's physical media is gone. So they say, quote, everyone just has cards or their phones now, said Sylvester Harris, a 54-year-old Washington native who panhandles near Capital One Arena. Quote, you can tell the ones who really do want to help you, but even they just don't have cash anymore. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And it just gets kind of worse from there, because the only way to cross this divide is to educate and provide for those who aren't already aware or capable of owning and maintaining the technology to facilitate a cashless existence. So they would need a phone or some other device that acts like a cash exchange device, right? It does exist, but there's an intermediate step. You know, you can use something like PayPal or whatever, Cash App, etc., but they have to have a smartphone to some degree. You know, e-paper cell phone would be great, relatively cheap, at least $200 cheaper than most cell phones, regular cell phones, you know, conventional cell phones. They last longer. They run apps on Android. I'm sure that we can make a device that is designed just to act as a cashless wallet, right? If it doesn't already exist and I just don't know about it. Yeah. There's a lot more for this article, by the way, so let me just send you on over to it. I can't summarize it enough. I don't think I can't do it justice. I really need people to go over and read that article, and then if they can assist, they can help, then they can help. Now the next article is over in the Mobile channel. When is an aurora not an aurora? It's a phenomena called Steve and Picket fence are masquerading as auroras. The shimmering green, red, and purple curtains of the northern and southern lights, the auroras, may be best known phenomena lighting up the nighttime sky, but the most mysterious are the mauve, and white streaks called Steve and their infrequent companion, a glowing green picket fence. This is what I've always seen. Now, I've never seen the aurora itself. I wanted to go to Alaska and I didn't get the opportunity fulfilled, which isn't like, that's the one state that I've not been to now. This article is over at phys.org, University of California, Berkeley. First recognized in 2018 as distinct from the common auroras, Steve, a tongue-in-cheek reference to the benign name given to a scary hedge in a 2006 children's movie, and its associated picket fence, were nevertheless thought to be caused by the same physical processes, but scientists were left scratching their heads about how these glowing emissions were produced. Claire Gask, a University of California, Berkeley graduate student in physics, has now proposed a physical explanation for these phenomena that is totally different from the processes responsible for the well-known auroras. She's teamed up with a team of researchers from the campus's Space Sciences Laboratory to propose that NASA launch a rocket into the heart of the aurora to find out if she's correct. Vibrant auroras and glowing phenomena such as Steve and the Picket fence are becoming more common as the sun enters the active period of its 11-year cycle. And November was a good month for Steve observations. Steve. Typical Steve. Gotta be different. So, Gask described the physics behind the Picket fence in a paper published last month in the journal Geophysical Research Letters, and will discuss the results on December 14th in an invited talk at the American Geophysical Union meeting in San Francisco. Pretty cool. Let's see if there's anything in it. The physics of Steve and Picket fence. The common auroras are produced when the solar wind energizes particles in Earth's magnetosphere. Often with altitudes higher than 1,000 kilometers above the surface, these energized particles spiral around Earth's magnetic field lines toward the poles, where they crash into and excite oxygen and nitrogen molecules and give it that color. Pretty cool. Pardon me. Steve, however, has to go off the rails here. Displays not individual emission lines, but a broad range of frequencies centered around purple and mauve. Or mauve. And unlike auroras, neither Steve nor the Picket fence emit blue light, which is generated when the most energetic particles hit and ionize nitrogen. So Steve and the Picket fence also occur at lower latitudes than the aurora, potentially even as far south as the equator. Gotcha. So it's just a different energy state drifting down further. Okay, I can buy into that. Well, there you go, folks. Dun, dun, dun. Let me throw this article into the chat. There you go. And you can follow those links anytime. They are now ensconced in ohmTown. And along with I think we're somewhere around 800,000 links to sources now, where we have just a little headline and a little snippet, just like this right here. When you click that link, it takes you to whatever the source is, and your layout will be slightly different than mine. I am I'm trapped in the mayoral mansion of ohmTown, so I get some layout issues. But anyway, with all that in mind, we are done for today. So I always say that we get back into the party bus, drive all the way back down Main Street. Normally I would click this, but if I want to promote this video, I have to leave it just like it is. I have to keep it scrubbed like it is, because whenever I mention a political party, I get in trouble. Ta-da! But I hope that you enjoyed the show, and I give you 10 new leads for piquing your curiosity about science and tech and society. And go over to ohmTown.com, become a citizen, sign up, and you can swipe things away. Like if I don't want this, I can just hide it. And so if I want to save something, I can swipe it the other way and it'll be saved. Ta-da! And you can do that too, because it'll be housed into these links down here. You'll be able to submit news. You'll be able to, well, you can do the voting already. This is a link to us on Twitch, and daily voting, past voting, and the podcast is here. But these 6 other categories house 50 other channels that I want to bring to Twitch and to YouTube and to podcasts, wherever your podcatcher catches pod. But that's it for today. I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmTown.com, and I will see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Be there, or hopefully whatever's going on in your life is keeping you happy and healthy. Okay. See you later. Bye-bye.